talk to the chef and just tell them how much you appreciate them. You don't want to have to wait to be asked to do something. You should just do it. If you see there's an opportunity and no one else is doing it, just go for it. Your love language, mine is sharing. I did not go vegan because I didn't like food.
Yes.
I still love food. I had this guy reach out to me. Did you know that you have a hate page? And I'm like,
what?
I think it's an ex-employee of Spiral, but they don't work there currently. I don't know who though.
No vegan options at a restaurant? That can make you feel a little dull, maybe even a little gloomy. But no fear, as our next guest could bring a little vividness back to your outlook. She's worked with restaurants all over the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex to bring in more vegan and plant-based meals to their menus. She's also hosted vegan bus tours that introduce people to little-known gems of vegan restaurants in major cities like Dallas and Boston. She's even had her wedding with filmmaker John Francis McCullough featured in magazine. Lighten up, as today seems to have a certain glow about it. Maybe because today we're chatting with business consultant and vegan content creator, the Colorful Courtney. Let's dive right into our conversation with her. Welcome to Annoying Vegans. We bring you perspective, validation, and laughs. I'm Alex Green.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney McCarthy.
So we're here with the Colorful Courtney.
Colorful Courtney. So we have a couple icebreaker questions just to get us warmed up a little bit. So we know you're the Colorful Courtney. Do you have a favorite color?
No, it changes. So purple is kind of my go-to, and it has been a long time. And I like to harken that back to Barney. You know, my Barney days.
Oh, yes.
Barney. But no, I think purple might be just my go-to. But lately I've been loving green, obviously.
I mean, yeah,
it works.
it's working.
Yeah, I'm falling in love with green.
Green and green with the green. Yeah,
It's green in him too, so, you know.
Oh, that's true.
Comes full circle. Yeah. Purple with the green spots.
I love that. And you love green too. Green's your favorite.
Green's my favorite color. It's nature, it's natural, it's very chilled, zen. So I love it.
What would you say the most common misconception about vegans is?
Oh my goodness, that we're malnourished. So crazy. I mean, it's so funny. I literally had a lady the other day, when she found out that I was vegan, she was like, "You look like the most healthy vegan I've ever met." And I'm like, okay. It was like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah,
I'm
I was like, how do I take that?
Thank you. You know, I wasn't withering away, is what she was saying. I looked like I was, you know, vibrant and fit and whatever. So I was like, all right, that's cool, but like, how many vegans have you met?
Right. It's like, you just don't come across it, but also like, right.
But I don't know, it's sad because it makes me just kind of look at my watch like, isn't it 2024?
Right,
you guys should know.
2025
almost 2025. You should know that vegans are totally healthy and thriving. I mean, sure, none of us are perfect,
Yeah.
but just weird, the whole malnourished thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so old.
I
Why are we
know.
still talking about this?
This is aged.
Yes.
So I know we talked a bit about colors, but as far as the name, Colorful Courtney, how did that come about?
Do you guys remember MySpace?
Yes. High school, all high school.
So that was my name
HTML.
on MySpace was the Colorful Courtney. And it kind of switched between like Color Me Courtney and the Colorful Courtney, and my friends came up with that because I had, MySpace was middle school for me. But you know, so it's a couple years there. But I loved it because I would get literally, you know, do you guys remember the scene days? Everybody was scene or emo or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was totally into the scene phase. And so I would buy skinny jeans in every color. So I would have like purple, yellow, red, green. I mean, you name it. Blue. I had skinny jeans in all colors. And my hair would usually change. I dyed all the time. And I'd always wear vibrant patterns and just everything. And so all my friends called me the Colorful Courtney. They're like, she's colorful. And I leaned into it because I always loved 80s fashion.
Yeah.
Of course, I wasn't born in the 80s, but I told my mom, like, you're so close. Come on. I was born in 92.
It's fine.
Maybe
Make it
a
happen.
couple more years. But I love 80s fashion. And if you look at 80s, it's very, you know, vibrant, bright patterns and colors. And they're so like wild with their hair, and it's awesome. And so part of me always looked at that style and wanted to mimic those the vibrancy there. And so I still do that, you know, with my hair or my nails or whatever it is. And now being vegan, it ties into that because we eat the rainbow. We eat all the colors. So why not? So I can talk about my lifestyle as a vegan and just how I see the world. And one of the best compliments I ever got was this girl was talking about how, this is a couple years ago, but when Snapchat was really big, which I know people are still on Snapchat. I'm not on it, but I used to be. And so she goes, Courtney, there's this filter on Snapchat. And it made me think of you because I was like, is this how Courtney sees the world? And this like really extravagant colors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, because to me, I love just nature and just the gorgeous flowers and spring and all the things. So I see the world in vibrant colors. I want to dress in vibrant colors. I eat vibrant colors. So it's all a very cohesive thing.
That's
Yeah.
excellent. And you have no, like, you're so shameless about it. You have no
yeah.
problem standing out
No.
and being like the only one. which-
Never.
I
If
think that's
anything,
great.
when you know, companies like today, I did a demo. I do demos for different brands that I represent. So there's this company that they're called Emerald Labs. It's vegan multivitamins and vegan like B12 and all kind of things. And it's just funny. So you notice I'm wearing black today, which is not my usual.
I was gonna say, it's a little bit. Are you okay?
No, they asked me to wear like all black, no patterns, and I'm like, do you know me?
Yeah.
Oh, and so I just came from Sprouts. I was at Sprouts doing a demo, and it was fine. It was just kind of like, at least I get to wear my hair all the time. So
There you
and my
go.
nails. So I'm like, that's good.
When we were coming to get you, we were asking like, what do you think what color do you think she's wearing
I
today?
know.
And we both said we think she's gonna be wearing green. But
Well,
hey, I mean the hair.
Yes, yeah, the hair and the nails go with me everywhere. So listen, I can't run away from that, which is so funny. Everyone has been asking me lately, you dyed your hair for the holidays? I'm like, no. They're like, did you dye your hair for Wicked? No, I actually dyed my hair for Beetlejuice.
Oh wow.
Vegan bus tour.
Yes.
So I'm curious. You've been doing this for a while, and you've
3 years.
3 years, and mostly around Dallas. I know
Yeah.
you've been doing it in other states like
Yes.
my hometown, Boston.
Yes, that was so fun.
Oh, and I'm sad I missed it.
I know.
But I'm curious, how do you mix it up and make it so fresh? Because
Yeah.
in my mind, I've been in Dallas for like 3 years or so, and I feel like I've seen all the vegan places that there are to see.
Yeah.
And when you do your tours, there's always at least one new place that I discover.
Yes.
And I'm like, how did I not know that this place at least has vegan options?
Right.
So how are you able to keep it so fresh and do it so often?
I'm very thankful that in a way, so I have a degree in journalism. So I graduated from UNT with my degree in journalism, and I like to say that it's because my journalistic eye and the skills that I learned in college that I'm able to kind of, I don't know, like tap into just people and local businesses and kind of keep my pulse on that and just always be in the conversation with restaurant owners or chefs or, you know, they just know to contact me. Hey, Courtney, we're about to open this new restaurant or about to open this new whatever. And so I'm very thankful when they reach out to me. I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's put you on the bus tour. Let's highlight you or whatever it is. And I think it's so cool. It just goes to show that networking is everything. You know, community is everything. Talking to each other and just kind of keeping the door open. Like, let's have you on a bus tour. Let's do a special event or let's do a social media post or whatever it is, because it's the best way is word of mouth, and obviously with the power of social media we can amplify that even more. And then these bus tours are so cool because a lot of times I'll have people come to me at the end of the bus tour because they're about 4 hours, and at the end they'll come to me and they're like, I'm not even vegan, I just wanted to come on this to see how it would be to eat vegan in Dallas, and I had no idea we had so many options because my idea is curated to be not 100% vegan restaurants because one, we don't have a ton of those. I wish we had more. We used to have more, sad.
Yeah.
But you know, we're getting there. I'm very thankful that a lot of restaurants are introducing vegan menus and vegan options. And I think that makes it nice because whether you're transitioning or you're on the fence or even if you've been vegan for years, you can find this place that has a vegan menu or vegan options and bring your friends and your family and your coworkers. And it's because of my bus tours that you are introduced to that. So in a way, yes, do I want all restaurants to go 100% vegan? Of course, that would be the utopia, the dream.
Yes.
But I'm so thankful for these kind of middle ground places, like meet you where you're at. Like, all right, you can bring anybody with you, so you're not the lone vegan eating salad with no dressing. You know, because I've been there so many times working in the corporate world. I had to do a lot of. So I try to make events that I would go to. Like I'm like, all right, what would I actually pay money for? And then hopefully people would also see that as a cool thing to do. And so when I go back to my D Magazine days, I worked at D Magazine for 2.5 years. Straight out of college, I was so thankful because it was a perfect job. You know, with a journalism degree, working at a Dallas magazine, like huge,
amazing,
the dream. And I did an internship, and they hired me out of the internship, so it was so cool. But the downside was I had to go to a lot of events, and I couldn't eat anything. I know I'm going to get some looks for this, but especially being probably the only vegan you know who doesn't like potatoes or avocados.
And you're Irish.
Or I know, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. No potatoes. And so every time I would go to, you know, an event or a restaurant, they're like, oh, we have fries. And I'm like, oh, I don't eat fries.
Oh, gosh.
Or, oh, we have guacamole. I don't eat guacamole. And so I'm just like, I'm sorry. So what was my option? Salad. Do you have any dressing? We have a lemon wedge.
Oh, my
okay,
Lord.
let me just squeeze a lemon on there.
gosh.
And so I'm eating just raw iceberg lettuce with maybe some chopped tomatoes in there, and maybe a cucumber and a lemon wedge. I'm like, this is great.
And
love it.
the worst
So I was
part-
very hungry in those years.
The worst part is they think that that's how we live our lives at home. They think that's how, like, that's the food that we eat, and that was just so sad. I'm like, you should see what I make.
Salads because it's just
Like,
yeah, it's just like It was just like,
Although I would tell you, there was a lot of late nights. I would come home, run to my fridge like, I'm so hungry. I would be out networking or doing these events for work, and they were fun events. But as someone who also doesn't drink alcohol, I just never have. They would be like, oh, you have free drink tickets. I'm like, can't use those either, can't really. So I literally water and salad. I was very healthy.
And they think you're boring, and they think you're weird. No, I actually have a lot of fun. It's just you guys don't have the same definition of fun.
right.
And so now I feel so spoiled. I mean, flash forward, here we are, 2024, almost 2025.
Yeah.
And we have all these restaurants that are like, oh, we just introduced a new vegan item. Oh, we just introduced a new vegan menu. Or, oh, we're transitioning to whatever, vegan. I mean, so cool.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because I went vegan in 2012. So we had nothing. It's
Right.
like we didn't even have Beyond Meat back then.
tofu.
Or Impossible. We had,
just tofu.
Yeah, we had rice stream ice cream, which was terrible. I mean, no offense. And there were so many things where I'm like, I tried it for the sake of vegan.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's good, and it wasn't good. I just wanted to. I wanted to like it because I was like, I'm vegan for the animals. I'm never gonna turn back. But I love food. I love flavor and texture. But yeah, back then I was just like, let's just muscle through this. So.
I discovered Jay's International on your bus tour, and that's just a
Her food
testament.
is so good.
And they have a whole vegan menu. They did vegan catering for Thanksgiving, and I have to take you.
Yeah, you told me about it, and I'm like,
I mean, I never had oxtail, but now I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it. It's great. The texture is incredible. Yeah.
It's just a
She's
testament to what you do. It's just the ability to discover new things, and the fact that they're expanding their vegan options. So.
Yeah, she's got a vegan burger place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cool. I mean, it's great. That's another reason why it's a good idea to, if you can, when you go to a vegan restaurant that you love or places that have vegan options, try to talk to the chef and just tell them how much you appreciate them. Like, thank you so much for having a vegan option, because that gets them showing, oh, I should work on introducing more options, and that just opens up the floodgates. So I feel like showing chefs that you appreciate just the little things that they do or create, I think goes a long way. I mean, who doesn't like to be told they're
feedback,
so
yeah.
great?
So I just want to ask before we get off the topic, but that makes me think of a thought I had to that point about all these options at these restaurants.
Amazing.
Why do you think so many vegan restaurants are closing down? Like we just saw Slutty Vegan close down, Mariachi's closed down earlier this year, a bunch of places near downtown, like Shoals and Tiki Loco. Like I used to be able to walk to these places.
I know.
And now I have
I
nothing.
put a memoriam slide of all the people.
Good. And the owners were friendly, nice people, very community driven. I mean, I went to my bus tours, so it's like all these people I loved. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say it's a combination of things. More main chains, like franchise restaurants, are introducing vegan options. So people are like, oh, I'll just go there because they probably have family that aren't vegan, or work situations, or their spouse or their significant other isn't vegan. And so I think I'm seeing this more and more that usually vegans are still kind of the lone wolf among their people. And so they're just kind of doing what they can. And it's nice. Again, it's kind of like one step forward, two steps back, where it's like, I'm thankful to see all these great big names in the restaurant industry introduce vegan options, but it's like that makes the mom and pop vegan shops not as viable, because here's the thing, since they're big chains, they're able to give you a smaller price for that menu item. The small mom and pop shops, they still have to pay high dollar for vegan cheese, vegan meats, vegan, you name it. We all know you kind of expect to spend money when you're buying the fancy stuff. And so these restaurants, when they're small, they have to, their margins are still high, and so they have to charge high. So if you're the average consumer, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the place that's cheaper. And it's the big franchises. So these mom and pop shops, I mean, let's look at all the vegan grocery stores. Mashup Market, Lucky Mouth, they're all closed. Austin, Rabbit Grocery, Rabbit Food. And it's just because Amazon also has cheaper options, and they can ship it to your house, And so it doesn't really leave the small businesses much room to grow, because in the economy, which is not great right now,
in the tank,
a lot of average consumers are like, I just can't spend those high dollars. I have to go with the Amazon or the franchise restaurant because they're offering me a smaller price. So if I can save $1 here and there, I'm gonna have to do it. So it's like you don't blame the masses, the average consumer, but you're just like, come on, support local, support small. It's hard. It's kind of like you feel like you're, a rock and a hard place.
There's a push and pull. I feel conflicted because in one of our prior episodes I said something along the lines of, for the future of veganism to grow, I think we should introduce more of it to the regular restaurants, the conventional restaurants. But does that then take away From the
It does.
vegan restaurants,
It
and
does.
it does.
And here we have the data to track it now.
Yeah. Ugh, it's hard.
So I don't know. It's kind of like all I can do is say continue to support small wherever you can, because they're most likely putting more love in the food.
True.
They're most likely having more creative options. They're all vegan. They're actually ethical. They're
Mission
sustainable. I mean, so that's what more reason. It's like, yes, you are going to be spending more money. That's just a given. But at least you can feel better about it.
Yeah.
You can. Well, kind of speaking along the lines of this helping the veganism grow, and I earlier talked about like networking as well. So I want to talk a little bit more about the consulting part of kind of what you do, and then how you got into consulting and what that kind of looks like.
Totally. So my dad has always been an entrepreneur, and I've taken a lot of just kind of lessons from him. He always taught me ever since I was a kid. It was funny. He mentioned it the other day, and I'm like, wow, here I am 32 now, and I have been hearing him say this for the past basically 32 years. And he taught me the power of initiative. And he's like, even when I was a kid, he's like, what's the definition of initiative, Courtney? And he even brought it up the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like a kid again. But it's a good lesson to teach your kids or even people you work with, because it's true. You don't want to have to wait to be asked to do something. You should just do it. If you see there's an opportunity and no one else is doing it, just go for it. So for me, I'm like, well, I'm vegan for the animals and for sustainability and for health and all the things. It's like such a, just win-win scenario. And for me, I'm like, well, if there are vegan businesses that are, maybe they're just so busy with creating their product or running their business or running their staff or managing all these things, they don't have time for marketing or social media or special events or, reaching out to influencers. I mean, there's so many layers that are just very time consuming. Yeah. And here I am with a background in marketing, journalism, event planning, all the things. So I'm like, well, why don't I do it? I'll step up. Like, I want these businesses to keep going and not close. So let me help them. Obviously there's a cost there. If I could do it for free, I would love to, but sadly we live in a very capitalistic,
To eat and have somewhere to stay, absolutely.
So yes, I have to charge for that. So it's like, yes, I'm working with small businesses, and don't get me wrong, I have met some haters like, well, why do you charge? I'm like, because I gotta pay bills. So there's that factor. It almost makes me feel weird, because it's like we already talked about how small businesses are struggling, but that's the thing is that's kind of every small business. But how are we going to make sure they can grow? Like, when I got into consulting, I was like, I want to make sure I'm giving prices that are lower or reasonable for small businesses, lower than the big marketing agencies. And also how I approach people is I am your consumer. I know what your consumers want because I am your consumer.
Yes.
I know what I would like to see as far as like, oh, that's a beautiful food shot, or oh, that event sounds really cool, or whatever it is. And so that's why I love my bus tours, because they get a portion of every ticket sale. So they're making money. I'm able to pay the bus driver. I'm able to do all these things, and it works out. I'm thankful too. A lot of companies like All Y'all's Foods will donate jerky, because his thing is, I just want to make sure more people eat vegan and have vegan snacks on the go, and so they're not like, oh, I gotta buy regular jerky and eat that on the go. It's like, no, please. So like brands will participate and donate product that makes the cost a little cheaper as well, and there's all these win-wins. But for me, I'm a problem solver. I want to find a problem and figure out how to solve it for my clients, for me, for the animals, just all across the board. And so I love how in the 6 years that I've had my LLC, because I started in 2018, it's evolved so much. I mean, 2020 was a big year for me because everyone was digital, everyone was online. So it was funny, that year I had a lot of events planned. I had a lot of travel, all of it was canceled, but it wasn't the end of the world. We were able to pivot, as they say, for that year. That was such a big word for the year. But it worked out, and so that's the thing is like, where I'm never gonna see a wall and be like, oh, I can't move around that wall. It's like, no, I'll climb it. I'll climb around it, over it, whatever. And so that's so fun. It keeps me on my toes. I definitely chose this job because I don't like boring, so never boring.
Speaking of, so I obviously you kind of touched on some of the challenges, but what would you say are some of the bigger challenges, sir? Is it like working with the people? Is it just working with coming up with ideas? What exactly would you say was kind of a bigger challenge when it comes to consulting?
Not so much coming up with ideas. I feel like I'm so thankful to usually have creative people to bounce ideas off of, and brainstorming is my favorite part. And I'm always, again, trying to mold what's trending, what's current in the zeitgeist, in the culture of our society, whatnot. And so that's kind of easy to pull off of. But as far as people, I mean, some people just don't understand what I do, or the value, or the time that it takes to put into all this. And so I feel like the only kind of like frustrating part is reminding people of the value of marketing. And in branding and voice and tone of your brand, because you don't want to come off a certain way if that's not what you actually represent or whatnot. And so I always tell people sometimes you have to have a certain amount of budget for your marketing or for your social media or for your event or whatever it is. And it's kind of a sad reality, because sometimes people are just like, oh, okay, I'll just do it myself. And I'm like, at this point, not even in a mean way, I'm like, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, good luck with that. Yeah, I'm like, you're not going to have time. I know what it's like to run a restaurant, and I know what it's like to run a staff and manage all of your bills and all the things. So it's like, I don't think you're going to have time for that. And I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I've had clients come back to me and be like, oh yeah, we need you. We don't have time. You were right. I'm like, it's just, and I'm not, again, saying it to be mean. It's just, I've seen it. I know what it's like. And that's why I'm here. I want to exist to help you and to take that burden off your shoulders, because it is a burden. It's a lot of time and planning. And so I'm thankful to be kind of a type A personality, to where I like organization. Like, for example, I have a whole calendar of events that I share with my clients. Like, this is what we can do. I'll plan a month ahead to show, like, all right, here's current events that are happening, or national holidays, or whatever it is. So let's plan around it. So things like that, you know. I'm always evolving, and sometimes I've had clients that are really tuned into their creative and they know exactly what they want, and then I have clients that are like, we have no idea. You tell us. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I can work with both. And so that kind of makes it fun. Again, it keeps me on my toes. It's always exciting, but that's the only frustrating thing. I think any small business entrepreneur will tell you that too. It's just like, when you meet people that don't get it, you're just like, oh, let me break it down for you, you know. So that's the only downside, is like constantly having to show my worth is kind of annoying, you know. But I think that's with any industry.
And convince restaurants to listen to you. Like, you obviously you're talking with sense and like,
and experience, years, you know.
What would you say, so thinking about misconceptions, possibly, we said, what are the misconceptions about being vegan? So you're very well known in the social media world. Like, a lot of people kind of like know your face and know like what you portray, right? Is there anything that you want people to know that they don't know about you, or that they might not, or misconception they might have that is actually not true?
You know, it's funny. I just had a recent conversation, and it's so interesting to learn this. Well, I had a guy send me, he was in Austin, so he doesn't live in Dallas, but I'm pretty tuned into the Austin vegan community too. Oh, just as far as Texas, I know Houston vegans, San Antonio vegans, all the things, because it is so important that we talk about how Texas is very vegan friendly. No matter what major city you're in, there's great restaurants, there's great options. And so I try to keep, in touch with all the other communities too. But I had this guy reach out to me, and he's like, did you know that you have a hate page? And I'm like,
what? I didn't know that.
I didn't know either. And I'm like, that's cool. So he sends me the page. And it's literally, so to be fair, the page is kind of like a hate page on a lot of different people, but specifically they had a post about me, and they took like 3 different pictures of me and kind of put it into like a mural form, and they said, you don't need the Colorful Courtney to market your vegan business. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Who just has the time to just...
I have no idea to this day. This was a couple months ago that he shared this with me. And I was like, who is this? And then we did some tracking. It looks like it's an ex-employee of Spiral, but they don't work there currently. I don't know who though. So to this day, all I know is that they worked at Spiral at some point. I think it was the Denton Spiral, which I went to the grand opening of. Because obviously Spiral was the first vegan restaurant I ever went to in 2011. Like I went there before I was officially vegan. And I'm like, I love this place. I'm like, I want to go vegan so bad. And it took me a while. I went vegan officially in 2012, but I went to Spiral in 2011 like, I want to go vegan. Like, it's going to happen. I'm going to work on it. And so Spiral was such a, paving the way to that. So for all of us, right? Absolutely. And so it's so great to have that. But yeah, I mean, I obviously when I found out about this page, and the guy was just telling me to let me know, obviously he was like, I'm so sorry if this offended you. I'm like, no, thank you for sharing it with me. But yeah, I mean, I'm a human. Of course it made me sad to see this exist. It's never good for anyone to have someone say that you're not good at what you do, or you're a fraud, or whatever. They didn't use that word necessarily, but they're kind of saying that. And so for me, I'm just like, you know what? I gotta learn how to do this more, brush it off my shoulder, and just realize the bigger you get in your industry, whether you're a musician or an artist of any kind, or a CEO, as we just saw, you're gonna have haters. It's just as the years go by and you get more well-known or stronger in your craft, whatever it may be, your industry, you're gonna have haters because people are either jealous, or they don't like the way you do business, or they want to be you, or they. I mean, there's so many layers. Who knows where this person is coming from? I don't know. Maybe they have a hard life or a hard family. Who knows? And they're taking it out on me. But I just thought it was interesting. I'm like, so they're mad at me for supporting small businesses, small vegan businesses? What? where's wrong here?
Yeah.
And that's fine. Again, like, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. The way I like to present veganism is in a colorful, inviting, delicious, fun way. I want people to see the vegan lifestyle and think like, oh, I could do that. That looks awesome. That looks delicious. Or that looks easier than I thought it was. Because I feel like that's a common misconception, going back to that question, is people think veganism's hard. It's not. And so, so I just like to show that off. And a part of me is, I took some time to think about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing the most I can. I don't lie to people. I don't cheat people out of money or their time or their efforts. I'm transparent. I'm communicative. I don't owe anyone money. I mean, these are the things that help me go to sleep at night. You know, it's just like, I'm a good person, and I know this at my core. And all my core people, my family, my friends, my husband, all the things, they know that too. So it's like, I don't need to prove it to anyone because I'm good in my soul. And my clients are happy too. So I'm again bummed that there are people like that. I wish we could all be supportive and encouraging and friendly. But that's just, as we all know, as you get older, you kind of realize the world is not smiling people and happy-go-lucky people like ourselves. But you know, if anything, it makes me stronger. It makes me think like, well, I guess I'm just getting more famous, and I can have that kind of, you know. I think about them like the celebrities that we admire. I'm sure they get tons of hate mail or whatever, and they have to brush it off. Exactly. And also, might I add, I had to tell y'all that I have been told I was the annoying vegan, so
there we go.
There's plenty of annoying vegans to cook.
I did. I'm gonna send a screenshot to you. There was this. I have to tell one last story. There was this. New restaurant that opened up. This was probably back in like September or August, somewhere around there, and it was like an all. Not vegan at all. I just want to highlight that. It was an all deviled egg restaurant. Like all they served was deviled eggs and like cocktails. And so I commented on it because again, I try to be active and I try to just kind of find opportunities. And I know that Wonder Egg exists, like the vegan eggs that are deviled. She just came out with a deviled egg earlier this year. And I love Hema. She's the owner of Crafty Counter, Wonder Egg. So I was like, this would be so cool if she was in this restaurant. And she's already in some restaurants. So I was like, this is possible. So I just commented. And I said, oh, this is awesome. I would love to see. And I tagged Crafty Counter, which is the Wonder Eggs. I was like, I would love to see Wonder Eggs in here so we could have some vegan options on the menu. And this lady commented. And she wasn't the owner. She wasn't involved in the restaurant. She was just a rando, just total random lady. And she commented, stop trying to shoehorn your veganism in here. We don't want it.
Oh my gosh.
And I responded because I was like, ooh, I'm going to kill her with kindness. And so I was like, I'm sorry. I hope you're okay. And I hope no one hurt you for you to just go and being rude to a total stranger like me who is only looking for us to coexist. Because I'm not saying that you should go all vegan, even though of course I want to be like, of course I love that, but I'm just saying I would love to enjoy this cool space with you guys so we can all sit at the table and have something to eat.
Right.
And I just said, I hope you're well. I think I ended the comment with, I hope you're well. And so many people liked it, like random.
Oh, love it.
It's like, you go girl. You know what? This lady was so mean to a total stranger. I had no idea who she was. She had no idea who I was. But since I was vegan, I was shoehorning my agenda. It's like, no, I'm just looking for all of us to be able to come to this restaurant and patronize them, and we can all eat together.
Yeah.
Win-win across the board.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where I'm like, she saw me as the annoying vegan.
Yeah.
And I'm just out here trying to make everybody happy. Like, what? So it's fine. It made me laugh. And I was like, we just got to keep working. It's fine.
And when they can't make you mad, when they can't get under your skin, that's
they
the
hate it.
best
Oh, yeah.
response. It's like, I'm still going to exude positivity and
Always.
happiness.
That's why I kind of love that term, killing with kindness. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's all I can do. Just, you have a good life. Thank you so much for your words.
Absolutely.
I enjoy
Thank
it.
you for the feedback. Could you talk a little bit about Coffee with Courtney?
Yes, so fun. Yeah, so Coffee with Courtney started because I was going, again, for my D Magazine days, on lots of coffee meetings, and I was posting about all these coffee shops in Dallas, and then one of my friends pointed out to me, like, you do a really good job of highlighting spots that we've never heard of. You know, it's kind of like what you said earlier with the vegan bus tours. And that's kind of my favorite thing, is just kind of almost being like an undercover vegan or undercover coffee lover and being like, all right, where's the cool new spot? Where's the cozy, coffee corner or the cool menu coffee shop? And for me, I'm just excited because I've gotten the question so many times, what's your favorite coffee shop? I'm like, honestly, it depends on the day. What vibe do you want? Are you going for a hangout with your friends? Are you going for a meeting? Are you going to just like read a book or get some work done by yourself? Are you going for a good playlist? Are you going for a good special latte? Whatever. And so I have all these different recommendations based on the filters you want. But for me, I love just getting, and this goes the same for vegan restaurants. When I find out about a vegan restaurant, I want to meet the owner. I want to I want to hear what their favorite dish is. I want to hear their inspiration. Where are they from? You know. So when I go to coffee shops, I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, tell me all about what was your vision for this place. I'm like, are you going to open new locations? So I don't know if that's just my extroverted personality, but I just love meeting people, especially these people that put their heart and soul into opening this business and then sharing it with the world. I just get so, like, I love that term, shout it from the rooftops, you know, like when you fall in love or things like that. That's why I love social media, because I'm like, let's shout it from the rooftops. If I find something cool, odds are someone else is going to think that's cool too. So I got to share it with them. That's the kind of, they say your love language, like mine is sharing. I love to like just share things with people, because I'm like, I don't want to hoard this for myself.
No gatekeeping.
Yeah, no gatekeeping. What's that guy from, or what's the dragon from Lord of the Rings, Smaug, where he like hoards all the,
I'm sure our viewers are like, is this? I don't know.
If you have a bunch of gold, you shouldn't just sit on it. You should, invest it or share it with people. And so that's just how you, so to speak, spread the wealth.
Yes.
To me, that's how I spread the wealth. Yeah. Sharing it. I always highlight, obviously, I'm a black coffee drinker. I don't do cream or anything. So I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'll enjoy a latte every once in a while with oat milk. But when I go to coffee shops, I always point out the coffee menus. And I'm in the works on getting some Dallas local coffee shops to have more vegan options, because I'm telling you, that's the only thing we're lacking in Dallas is our coffee shops are so just barren with vegan options. Like, I mean, you can get vegan coffee easy because you just switch out the milk, but no snacks, no treats. And it's so annoying.
I'm like, when I go to coffee shop.
And yes,
they take care
before after.
And they take care of my latte
needs,
but
I want a pastry. I want something. So I'm working on that. I have a couple coffee shops in the works, and I'm trying to connect them with vegan bakers like Reverie or like Sweet Chili's and stuff like that. I'm trying to be like, just work with them, get them to drop off some treats, because us vegans, we're hungry. Yeah. So I'm like, come on, we want coffee and pastries.
As we wrap up here, I do want to kind of go back to where it all began as far as your veganism. I know you said you kind of flirted with it in 2011, but you started in 2012. So what was that journey like? How did you get from just going from, maybe I could be vegan, going to spirals to like, okay, no, I'm vegan?
I admire the people, and I've met my fair share, I'm sure you have too, where people are like, I went cold turkey, or what we call cold tofu. Overnight. And I'm like, dang, you get it. I did not. It took me years, and I'm jealous. I almost wish I had more, gumption or whatever the word is to go vegan overnight, because that's so cool. Some people see documentaries and they're like, I'm done, and I've heard people, they're like, I took everything out of my pantry and I threw it away. I'm like, whoa, that's hardcore, and I admire that, but that was not my journey. So that's why I kind of like when people challenge veganism and they're like, oh, it seems so hard. I'm like, don't get me wrong. When I was transitioning to veganism, I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, this is hard. How do you do it? Especially someone who was born and raised in Texas.
Yes.
It's like we're known for our southern food, barbecue, all the things. There's so many things that aren't vegan that we're just in our culture. My family, most of my family's from Alabama. So we're talking like extra layer of southern fried goodness on top of my Texas roots. And I lived in Georgia for a couple of years. When in the late 90s with my dad, we moved out there for work. So I had Alabama, Texas, Georgia, all very known for their southern food. And so going vegan my whole family was like, oh, you're turning your back on our culture. I'm like, no, I'm not. And my favorite thing is to tell people, I did not go vegan because I didn't like food.
Yes.
I still love food. What? I went vegan for ethical reasons, for the animals, but there's still, as we all have seen in the great, food evolution we've experienced in the vegan world, is that you can have so many of your favorite staples from your childhood or what grandma used to make, but veganized.
Yes.
And so I officially went vegetarian when I was 13 years old. And that story is kind of fun, but also just kind of one of those like gut punch reactions. A lot of my family lives in Fort Worth, so we would drive from Grapevine, where I grew up. Grapevine. I went to Colorful Heritage High School, if you've heard of it. Suburbs. And so we would drive from that area to Fort Worth, which is about an hour. And I remember my mom and grandma were in the front seat, and I was in the back seat because obviously 13, couldn't drive. And so I was looking out the window, and I just saw a bunch of cow pastures because out in Fort Worth it's very country, so there's a lot of horses and cows and sheep and whatever. And so I just see these cows just roaming, just grazing. Nothing bad was happening to them. But I just thought, oh, I just want to hug one, like I would my dog. And then I just, like a wave of bricks just fell on me, and I'm like, why would I want to hug this cow that I know is in my double meat and cheeseburger? On Fridays, my grandma would pick me up from school and we'd go to McDonald's. And we get a double meat and cheeseburger to celebrate the weekend. And I remember I would get it with no vegetables. Like, what? Looking back, I'm like, how did I eat that? Literally double meat and cheese bread. And I'm like, I can't eat that anymore. That's a cow.
Yeah.
That was grazing, having the time of his life in the green pastures, and now he's a burger. And I remember telling my grandma, I was like, we can't go to McDonald's anymore. I was like, I'm sorry. And I think we went to McDonald's, and from after that, and we still got like cookies and like, you know, things that didn't have meat in it. But I told her, I was like, I can't eat meat anymore. And she was like, why not? You thought you loved it. And I was like, I do love it, but I feel like it's wrong. I can't do that. And it's funny, my mom used to make pork roast like every Christmas or whatever, and I don't know if you've ever had pork roast, but it's like a long simmer cook like in a crock pot, and it smells up the house like very, very potent. And I remember my mom made it one day, and I felt really bad because I told her, I'm like, I can't eat that.
Yeah.
And she's like, you love pot roast. I'm like, I really do. Like my mouth, I remember specifically, it's very visceral. My mouth was watering, so I did love it,
Why you say
but I
no?
was like, I can't eat it. And I was just trying to explain it to her. I was like, I feel crazy, and I'm so sorry, but in my core, my heart, it feels wrong. I can't do it. And so I remember they were so mad at me. They're like, Courtney, what are you gonna eat? And I remember for a while, and we all have probably been there, I thought vegetarian also included fish, so I was pescatarian. But it's just funny, I'm sure you've met the people who are like, I'm vegan, but I eat fish every once in a while.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Fish have eyes.
Yes.
That's a soul.
Yes.
That's an animal. Anyway, but I was one of those. So that's why I'm like, okay, I used to be you, whatever, it's fine, I get it.
Yeah.
We all have learning to do. But I fished for a couple of years, and only fish. I actually worked at a seafood restaurant in college for 4 years. It was called Fish City Grill in Flower Mound.
Wow.
And I worked there, and I remember it was so hard when I went vegan. So I went vegan halfway through. So I worked there 4 years, and 2 years in, I went vegan, and it changes your life when you slip in a puddle of fish guts, just saying. Not a fun time. It was very slippery. I slipped and I was wearing jeans, fish guts all along my side.
Gosh.
And that changes your world. You're like,
Yes.
I'm never eating fish again. Yeah, so that was an easy transition to no fish to vegan. I'm like, yeah, no thank you. And so that was, again, I'm so thankful for Google and just the internet, because
Access.
I think it's cool, all the documentaries we have too, but here's the thing, I'm really bad with just like sad images and gore and guts, even if it's animals, obviously. So for me, it wasn't a documentary. I think it's cool, and people are like, I watched this documentary and it changed my life. I'm like, cool, I'm never gonna.
Yeah, me neither. I'm like, I don't want to see it.
Too much.
I'm good.
I was like, I can read about it. Let's read in print, and then I get it. And so, yeah, my imagination does the work for me. So yeah, it's just basically slowly but surely, I started looking up recipes online of how to make different things, and I've always had a sweet tooth. So my last thing to give up before making the full jump from vegetarian to vegan was ice cream. And I'm like, and of course I wasn't eating ice cream every day, but it's just like, that was the one thing I was like, mostly vegan except for ice cream every once in a while. And I felt really wrong about that, obviously.
Yeah.
And so finally I found Notamu, which if you haven't tried, they're from Austin. Oh, they're so good. I remember meeting the owner because he was at some event at the state fair, actually. And I'm like, oh, you're the owner of Notamu. I love you. I was like telling him how he changed my life, because I was like, I was holding on to ice cream as this like one last thing that was keeping me from being fully vegan. And then I found you, and I saw that you had a cookies and cream flavor, which has always been my favorite. And it was very reminiscent of like Brahms, which I grew up on Brahms ice cream, which is definitely not vegan. And so I was just like, it was then that I was like, I can be vegan now.
Yeah.
Yay! And so here I am 12 years later.
Wow.
still vegan and eating all the sweets. That's great. I have a sweet tooth for sure.
One final quick question.
Yes.
You were in Dead Space. You were.
Yeah, Dead Hand.
Dead Hand.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Dead Space sounds cool too.
It's a video game. It was a video game. I'm like, what? Really? Yeah.
They'll make it a movie. But,
Yes.
I love that
Probably.
you brought vegan snacks to the set.
Yes. Oh yeah. Not just snacks. We catered vegan.
Oh,
we had
okay.
all these different. We had a couple different places that catered vegan nachos and tacos and all kind of things. And also, I was at the time a Juiceland ambassador, so I got Juiceland to cater.
I love Juiceland.
I love Juiceland, yeah.
It's great because guess what? Nobody was vegan on set except for my husband. I mean, I was on set every once in a while, but he was the only vegan every day. And they shot for 2 months, so
Wow.
we catered, vegan every day, and everyone commented on how they felt. Because think about it, they're doing action stunts.
Yeah.
They're doing like choreography for fight scenes,
Yeah.
and they all commented on how they feel better. They're like, we have
I
more
love
energy. We
that.
don't feel sluggish. I'm like, y'all should just go vegan already. Clearly, it's good for you as an actor / stunt person, or fight guy, whatever. So
Will
it
we
was
see
cool.
no more movies in 2025, you think?
And not me, but my husband, yes. Yeah, he's got me reading. He has like 3 scripts just ready to go. And he just shot a movie, like a short film, 3 weeks ago, that's in production, or like post-productions. They already shot it, so that now they're in like color grade and editing and stuff like that, which
Okay.
I've marrying a guy in film, I've learned so much. Now I listen to the podcasts that are like how we made it. I'm like, I love this now. Like, I just love the behind the scenes talk, But now it makes me appreciate movies more. But yeah, no, he's got some cool projects coming up, and he's going to be starting to fly out to like California and Georgia. Apparently, is a great place to film movies. Yes. And so he's going to be flying out there more. He has a lot of friends that are doing good in the industry, so they're kind of getting him in. So I'm excited for him. So send all the good love his way. I'm ready for him to get his due.
We'll drop his name in the show notes so they can check it out.
And you can watch the movie on Amazon.
You can watch Dead Hands on Amazon. Courtney
it's $3.49.
It's only $3.49. Okay.
It's a full feature-length movie. It's 90 minutes, so it's like sit down, have some friends, watch it. I'm in it. I have a 3-minute scene. It was super fun. I play a secret agent spy named Raven. I chose my name, which is pretty cool.
Did you get to keep your hair like pink or something like that?
My hair was purple at the time.
Oh, okay.
It was fun. Yeah, so I give him intel on his mission. It's pretty cool. So I thought that was fun, and of course I'm also his love interest, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, I'm your wife, but okay. But it was cute. So yeah, it's a fun movie. It's an action comedy, so you're meant to laugh and have fun. And he choreographed everything, which I think is so neat because I never thought about this. But when you watch a fight scene, they choreograph it like it's a dance. If you think about it, that's how it is. It's like you have to get the punches and whatever. And so it's really neat to look at that now, or any fight movie or action movie, and appreciate it more. Like, oh, they're really skilled at this. It's like dancers. So kind of neat. So if you watch it, know that everybody was vegan on that set.
Everybody was vegan in that movie. Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. We appreciate your time. I know you're very busy and you have a lot of things going on. Colorful Courtney is Courtney's handle on all platforms. Coffee with Courtney also on Instagram. And I know that you are good at, filtering out the haters, and you have a strong support system, but I want you to know that you have a support system here with us. Thank you all for watching this episode. Please check out Courtney. We'll leave her information in the show notes. Check out her husband's movies. More to come from Courtney, maybe some vegan coffee shops. But, more to be excited about in the next year. And bus tours, of course. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell your vegans, tell your non-vegans.
Especially the non-vegans.
Especially non-vegans. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Beetlejuice too. Oh no! It happens. I've done it so many times. One time I tripped over a gas thing, and I hit my wrist. So I feel you. But it was like one of the gas pump was in my car. And I was trying to walk over it, and I tripped over it, and I fell, and I slammed my wrist, and I was bleeding everywhere. So it could have been worse. So yeah, at least you're not hurt.
We will edit that out.
Yeah,
Keep it in.
The
viewers like, what's happening?